Hey, Dan Meyer here, and I'm back once again with more for you on why I left Wells Fargo. I'm going to share with you 5 more tips based on experiences that I learned as I decided to leave Wells Fargo after a long corporate job. Happy career, good opportunities, loved working for the bank, but I just decided, you know what, I need to be my own boss. So I left and I set up my first business, and almost 15 years later, I'm going strong. And these are some lessons that I think of when I look back to that moment when I decided to leave. And the 5 things I'll talk about today really revolve around cultivating an entrepreneurial mindset. The first is that you have to be patient. And I say this because I recommend that nobody just quit their job and then start being an entrepreneur. I recommend that you keep your day job and you start your entrepreneur business on the side. I spent almost a year in overlap between the two. When I finally decided to leave Wells Fargo, it was several months before I actually submitted my notice. And when I submitted my notice, the bank asked me to stay on to finish up some things I was working on for another several months. So I actually spent close to a year having 2 jobs, having the job during the day, working for Wells Fargo, and the job at night, working for myself. And this helped me do a lot of planning without having to have immediate results. And I applaud people that are brave enough to be able to just cut from one thing and go right to the other. But it's a challenge for most of us, especially if we have families, we have financial obligations, we need some security in our life. Then I recommend that you have that patience. So number 1 is don't rush in. And 2, when you finally do quit and you finally do start your work, make sure that you build in chances for you to make sure that you take time for yourself. You can't go 24/7 into your new job. You're going to want to. Your new job as an entrepreneur is going to be a 24/7 thing, but you got to build in time and let it grow. If you put too much pressure on yourself to make money right away, then you know it's the wrong time to be an entrepreneur. You need to have a good year worth of savings built up. You need to have a good year's worth of additional revenue that you can draw from before you decide to be an entrepreneur, because you're not going to be able to make a lot of money at first, no matter what you do. I mean, the people that get out there and make a lot of money from day one are the few, very, very few. And most of them probably exaggerate the fact that they're saying that they do that anyway. So my experience is that you have to have patience. Definitely have to have a lot of patience as an entrepreneur. Number 2 is you should be persistent, right? You have to be patient, but you can't give up. You got to keep going. You got to make sure that you are looking at things for the long term. And you want to have that long-term goal in mind. What are you doing this for? Financial freedom, freedom of time, not having to report to somebody else, not having to live your life by somebody else's rules. Now, you're going to have clients, you're going to have employees, you're going to have your own deadlines you need to meet. You're going to feel some days like you're working a job, but it's never going to quite feel the same because you're able to do it for yourself. And this is what gives us persistence. This is what gives successful entrepreneurs the reason they get up in the morning and work, because they want to persevere. They want to be able to be persistent, and they want to be able to persevere and be successful. So persistence really comes across when you don't take no for an answer, when you don't give up on the first failure or the second failure or the third failure or the fourth failure. You get up each time, you dust yourself off, and you try again. You learn from your mistakes. You make small changes. If something didn't work right last time, then figure out a variable, fix it, and try it again. Occasionally, you have to just walk away from something because it was a bad idea. But for the most part, that persistence will get you through, which leads you to that perseverance, right? The perseverance is a deeper type of patience and persistence. Perseverance is basically where you have to never give up and have faith in what you're doing, right? You're going to survive this. And this is something you learn a lot from mentors, from experts that you can talk to. You can teach yourself patience. You can teach yourself persistence. But you have to have others to remind you to have perseverance. Perseverance is something that only the few possess, and that's what makes successful entrepreneurs. Of the 100 people that set up a small business, 80 of them will fail at some point. The 20 that don't, that keep going, and the reason I've been going for over 10 years is because I am able to persevere. The 4th thing that entrepreneurs have in common when they cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset is they embrace change. I am always welcoming change. If I'm afraid of something, I know it's only temporary, I'm going to learn it. If I'm worried about something, there's always a solution out there. If I don't know how to do something, I look for an expert. I look for somebody who's already solved the problem. I expect change to happen every day. Variables will pop up. Everybody in your business at some point will fail you. Your employees, your partners, your clients, even your family. So you have to be willing to embrace change. You have to always be understanding that you're in a transitionary period, a consistent transition from where you're at to where you're going. And even when you get to where you're going, it's going to evolve into being something else. So you have to embrace change. And number 5, you have to have a creator mindset, a creator. You are a creator. You create jobs, you create revenue, you create opportunity, you create products and services. You are the one that creates things. This is what cultivating an entrepreneur mindset is all about. Taking what you have up here and finding a way to monetize it. Figured out what it is that you love to do. For me, it was business analytics. What you're so good at that you're better than almost everybody else, business analytics at Wells Fargo, and that you would do it for free if you could, because I love crunching numbers. I'm just a data nerd like that. But you can turn it into a business and people will pay you for it. And before you know it, you find yourself in that sweet spot where you do something every day that you love, that you get paid well for, and that you enjoy doing, so that you're good at it, you love it, and you get paid for it. This is what an entrepreneur is all about. So to get there, you have to have patience, you have to have persistence, you have to have perseverance, you have to embrace change, and you have to have that creator mindset. These are some things that I learned that I had or needed or constantly needed to refill when I was an entrepreneur. These are some things that I learned when I left Wells Fargo as a first-time entrepreneur. And I learned sometimes the hard way. I failed quite a bit. I had a lot of challenges, but I'm still here. Almost 15 years later, super successful, super happy, having made a difference in the world. Not just as a good employee, but as somebody who can create opportunities for others. This creator mindset is what fuels me, and it's gonna fuel you as well. So I hope these lessons today, these tips on what I learned when I left and why I left Wells Fargo, was to have these things front and center in my life. So if you're curious about more, I can help you. Feel free to drop a comment. Please subscribe to our channel. Send me a message and say, hey, Dan, how did you do this? How did you do this? You can find me on LinkedIn. Basically, I'll drop more videos here on YouTube as well, teaching you why I left Wells Fargo. And I left Wells Fargo not on bad terms. I love working for Wells Fargo. I just was ready to do it on my own. So that's my talk for today. Hopefully these tips helped you. Now get out there and have an awesome day.